They're making our food out of people. Next thing, they'll be breeding us like cattle for food. You gotta tell them. You gotta tell them.
Promise, Tiger. I promise. I'll tell the exchange.
You tell everybody. Listen to me, Hatcher. You gotta tell them. Silent breed is people!
Greetings, pilots and passengers. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and spent it with your loved ones. I know I did for sure. I ate a lot of meat and it was very tasty, and I spent it with my family and it was wonderful. Speaking of meat, today I have an article that is very intriguing, very strange, and follows a lot along with this big push to alternate meat, and by that I mean fake meat. They say this mainly because of climate change, but in reality it's to deprive a lot of people from being able to have access to the real food that they need to be eating. So I have an article here from Weird Science News that I discovered on the Natural News website titled Self-Cannibalism. Scientists create the first lab-grown steak with human cells and expired blood donations, which allows you to eat your own flesh. Yep, it sounds exactly as it is there. So scientists have essentially created a steak, a lab-grown steak, that is made from humans. Not just humans, but is made from your own cells that you will be able to grow yourself. So essentially a human steak DIY kit. The article says, no scientist, mad or not, has ever managed to grow a slab of meat in the lab without using an expensive serum derived from animal blood. That is, not until the Ouroboros steak. Currently on display at the Beasley Designs of the Year exhibition in London, the Ouroboros steak is a piece of real meat grown from human cells and expired blood donations. This article is from the 20th of November, so I doubt that this exhibition is still going on in London. Named after the emblematic Egyptian symbol of a snake eating its own tail, the Ouroboros steak was designed to be a thought-provoking piece of art exposing the clean meat industry's use of fetal bovine serum. It's interesting how they've decided to name this steak after an Egyptian symbol, that of a snake eating its own tail, which is a very occultic symbol which can be seen today. It's just interesting how they decided to use that as the symbol associated with the steak. They're trying to expose the fake meat industry and how the clean meat industry uses this serum. At the same time, you could also argue that they are trying to push a plant-based way of eating, not necessarily a plant-based way of eating, but a fake meat way of eating onto people, and say that it is basically possible to not eat meat. You can just eat alternatives. But again, self-cannibalism, well, environmentally friendly yet inhumane. FBS, the fetal bovine serum, is an immensely expensive protein-rich growth serum used to develop meat products in a lab, which are usually touted as more environmentally friendly than conventional meat. Of course, meat is nowadays blamed for everything. Meat is the cause of all problems, all the time. It's always used as a scapegoat. Gruesome truth, however, is that FBS is derived from the blood of calf fetuses that were surgically extracted from pregnant cows slaughtered in the meat and dairy industries. Opponents of clean meat made with FBS argue that the calf fetuses are likely exposed to pain and discomfort during the extraction process. It is because of the use of FBS that critics are quick to dismiss claims that clean lab-grown meat is more environmentally friendly than conventional ones. People have a big problem with slaughtering animals, yet they don't pay much attention to the slave labour that is conducted on a mass scale for growing crops. How many millions of bees are killed every year in the growing of almonds and the growing of nuts and legumes and the harvesting of these crops. No real attention is paid to that. Again, you could even take this a step further in terms of, well, no big deals made about abortions, is there? Saying how these fetuses are exposed to pain and discomfort during the extraction process, when you could turn around and say, well, the same could be said for fetuses being aborted, but no one, there's people who don't make a fuss about that. But while the Ouroboros steak seeks to expose this industry practice and introduce an alternative that does not harm animals, the undertones of cannibalism cannot be ignored either. I don't agree with harming animals in terms of you don't go out of your way to harm an animal. If you are killing animals for food because it's a part of your diet and you need to be eating it, then that's a different story. If these animals are slaughtered in a humane way, I don't see an issue with that. Again, cannibalism. Now it's scary that they're now suggesting that you can just grow your own steak out yourself and eat that instead of actually eating meat. While part of an art exhibition, the Ouroboros steak is a real piece of meat grown using human cells. So it's not just part of an art exhibition, it's not just art. Again, it's funny how they call these things art. It's a lot like with Marina Abramovich's spirit cooking, which involves human blood, it involves sperm, it involves breast milk, it involves all of these liquids and just disgusting stuff, and that is classed as art. The same goes for this. A piece of meat grown from human cells is now classed as art. To me, a piece of art is a really nice painting that has been made by an artist, or something you can really look at and appreciate, not a slab of meat that is grown out of someone's cheek cells. Scientists and designers from the US who worked on the prototype envisioned a do-it-yourself kit that would have people harvest their own cells from inside their cheeks. So yeah guys, instead of going out and getting a steak, a nice ribeye, you don't need to be doing that anymore. All you have to do is swab your cheek, put it with a bit of expired human blood, let it sit for a while, and you'll come back and you'll have grown your own steak. So you can eat that instead. You won't be able to eat it straight away. You might have to wait a little bit, but 3 months later, when you're really hungry and have been waiting all this time to eat a steak, you can eat yourself. Don't worry guys. The cells, once fed with a growth serum derived from expired human blood, should then be set aside in a warm area for 3 months. Once done, the cells should have grown into meat that bears an uncanny resemblance to human flesh. It's just disgusting, isn't it, really? No one on earth would agree to this. To create their prototype, the researchers purchased human cells from the American Tissue Culture Collection. Interesting how they've actually purchased human cells to use in this. The cells were fed with old blood that would have otherwise been discarded. So Grace Knight, an industrial designer who helped with the project, said that expired human blood is a waste material in the medical system. So instead of humanely sourcing animal products, all we have to do to solve all of the world's problems is get expired human blood that's going a bit manky, chuck it over a few cheek cells, and jobs are good in. You've got a steak. So you don't need to be eating meat anymore. We're going into 2021. That's back in 2020. When we hit 2021, meat will, guys, you should be with it by now. You should be with the times. We're eating ourselves in 2021. Expired human blood is also cheaper and more sustainable than fetal bovine serum in the long run. Orkan Tellen, a designer and researcher from the University of Pennsylvania who also worked on the project, added that their design is scientifically and economically feasible due to the resources it uses. Just because something is cheaper to do doesn't mean you have to be doing it. However, others might draw the line at the use of human blood to manufacture food since it veers dangerously close to issues of cannibalism. People think that eating oneself is cannibalism, which technically this is not. I mean, eating your own race, your own species, is cannibalism. So it's still cannibalism even if it's yourself, because it's self-cannibalism. Cannibalism is eating another being of your race. There are many species that do cannibalism. There are even still societies and communities in this world that still do partake in cannibalism, but him saying that it's not technically cannibalism, I mean, I disagree with that. It's still a form of cannibalism, even if it is on yourself, because you are a human being, so you are eating the same race as yourself. It then says the glaringly cannibalistic undertones of the project do not help Knight's case. Writing in the vegan review, interesting, journalist Anne Meridio argued that a line must be drawn somewhere. You can't ignore the fact that we're talking about humans eating human cells. Additionally, the concept itself only works within the context of a post-clean meat world. I completely agree with what Anne is saying. Where do you draw the line? You're going to start with self-cannibalism and encouraging it. What comes next after that? Nonetheless, Meridio acknowledged that the project speaks volumes about technological breakthroughs in alternate meat, in alt meat. That being said, it's not a food future many would like to see. Well, I would hate to see that. It's a lot like that movie, Soylent Green, where the world is so devastated and corrupt that people are eating these food rations that are made out of humans. That is not a future anyone would want to see. Lab-grown meat is not currently approved for human consumption anywhere in the world, but as it is a rapidly growing industry with massive implications for the future of large-scale food production, it is already projected to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, because the anti-meat industry, which I would term it myself, is huge, is massive. Go look in the supermarkets at the plant-based options. Go look at all of these meats, fake meats being produced to mimic real meat that are made out of all kinds of junk, cheap food that isn't really sustainable whatsoever. So I thought I'd show you one of the original sources for that article was from the Metro. Here is the actual image of the steaks. I mean, that is the saddest looking plate of meat I've ever seen in my life. It looks disgusting. But yeah, these are the human steaks. So these steaks have been made out of human cells and grown in expired human blood. I won't go through the article in detail because the first article covered all of the content that's in this, but I would like to just touch on the final comment there that lab-grown meat is a huge industry. Because at the bottom it states that there are many companies racing to produce the first ever 3D printed steak, the first ever lab-grown steak, and these include Aleph Farms, which is one of the first to have made a lab-grown steak, and Nova Meat, which actually 3D printed a steak from vegetable proteins, which, I mean, as a carnivore, that is quite sad, but each to their own. So to conclude on this article, it's scary to see that this has been done. There are things that don't need to be done, and this is one of them. This didn't need to be made. This shouldn't have been made. It's disturbing, and rightly so. The journalist who said, "Where do you draw the line?" is completely right, because you start on this. It's a slippery slope. Once you start growing steak out of human flesh, what is next after that? I don't really want to know. They're saying that it's to expose the growth serum that is used to grow clean meat and how that it is abusing animals, and I'm not denying the meat industry can and has and does still treat animals terribly, but this does not mean we have to stop eating meat altogether. We just have to slaughter animals humanely. People can still have the right to eat what they want. Diet is a very personal thing. In my opinion, in two ways, I think that it's all a part of this huge agenda going on at the moment, which I do believe is part of the Great Reset, to push people to eating a fully plant-based diet. A diet that for many people isn't sustainable, because a diet is a personal thing. Not everyone has a gut biome built to just eat a certain way. Some people can eat a wide range of foods. Some people have plenty of intolerances and allergies, like myself, and are limited to a food group. Others are vegan and vegetarian and they can thrive off that. I don't doubt that. And I know people who are and do thrive off that diet, but that doesn't mean that everyone has to live that way. If you want to eat meat, eat meat. If you don't want to eat meat, don't eat meat. It's simple as that. I think it's a part of that agenda personally, because the plant-based and alt meat, as they call it, industry is so massive. Additionally, I think there are darker tones to this of the self-cannibalism, but let's take that a little bit further. If you believe that there are elites in this world who are into occult practices, who are into nefarious things behind closed doors, blood rituals, including worshipping darker deities such as Satan, and that they are performing darker rituals involving blood, and some allegedly suggest cannibalism, then you could argue that this is another form of programming, another form of getting people used to this idea of cannibalism, getting used to these acts that would be seen as very taboo, and just normalising it. But of course, their excuse for this is it's just art. And art is whatever you want it to be. It's disturbing, and I would not want to live in a world where I have to grow my own steak out of my cheeks, because pretty gross. Well, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment down below about what you think about these steaks. Would you grow a steak out of your own flesh and eat it? Let me know if you would. I'd like to say that if you'd like to support the channel, please subscribe to Dare to Fly Today and get ready to take flight. Turn on notifications so you get notified every time I upload a video. Like and share this video with others. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you can make a one-off donation via my Ko-fi page, which will go towards buying me some rocket fuel for my ship, which I will need in the new year. Or you can also make a donation to my PayPal, and links to both of those will be down below in the description box. If you'd like to check out these articles for yourself and read a bit further, I'll also include the links to the articles below too. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day wherever you are in the world. Stay awake, stay true, and stay blessed. The next time I'll be doing a video with me in it will be in the new year, so I hope you all have a very, very happy new year, and I know it will be your year. And as always, fly high, fear less.